Cottney Attorneys and Consultants is dedicated to helping the construction industry with legal, business, and safety challenges. Welcome to this week's episode of Law and Mortar with John Kenny and Trent Cottney.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Law and Mortar. I am Trent Cottney, CEO of Cottney Attorneys and Consultants, and as always, my partner in crime, John Kenny, the man, the myth, the legend. John, how are you, man?
Doing good. It's been a busy week, but we're here. Welcome everybody to another round of Law and Mortar.
Yep. So we had a huge event this week, and I got a kudos to you, John, and your team. It was absolutely amazing. For those of you that weren't following our social media and missed out on it, we had a simultaneous event going where we had some manufacturers here with booths in our training center. And then at the same time, we had some live webinars and interviews and presentations going. It was pretty incredible. And I'll be honest, I was kind of worried, like, how's this gonna turn out? Turned out amazing, absolutely amazing. So John, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about it and kind of what the replays are gonna look like moving forward?
Sure. Yeah, no, congrats to my team. They did a fantastic job pulling it off. So yes, here in the live training center, we had real booths set up. Manufacturers here doing training. It was limited invitation to this event. While that was going on, at the same time, we had a live virtual event where manufacturers were joining in from other parts of the country where they were located, and they were also doing their product demonstrations. And we had a very large, steady stream of participants on the virtual. So they could log in and out as they wanted to with it, but most people steadily stayed on. So it was a very good event. At the same time, I had the pre-taped interviews that I've been doing for the prior week with a lot of different industry people. We'll be getting them out there. So it's too many for me to list, but I can tell you, if you missed them, you'll get the full replay. I'm going to start sending them out on social media next week. And I'll also do an introductory social media post where you can see where they're all located in case you want to go look at them all at one time. We're also going to take the virtual training that was done and segment that out into the sections of the training. So anyone who missed the virtual training can go, if you were here live or you weren't able to get on, you can actually go pick up the virtual training. So all this will be coming next week, how you can access all of that.
Yeah, and so you guys know, this is not interviews with Bob the cleanup guy. These are, industry leaders, cream of the crop, the who's who of important people.
It's international. We have
internationally, not just the States, but Canada internationally as well. So
this is your drum roll. This is your buildup. If you didn't see it, you're going to want to watch these interviews.
Yeah. I was really surprised at some of the frankness and some of the conversations. It was really good. Some of the interviews kind of let their hair down a little bit, and we got an inside look at some things. So definitely recommend you check that out. Also, for anybody that's listening to this, whether you're a contractor, manufacturer, we got a state-of-the-art training center. It is filled with historical, signs and other stuff from the industry. So it's like a museum. If you've got any interest in using it, reach out to us. We're not necessarily as concerned about an hourly rate or things like that, but we can work out deals with you and figure out how you can use it. Our key thing, and John, I think I probably speak for both of us, is we want to give back to the industry. We want to make sure that, we're promoting workforce development, and anything that we can do along those lines to help you guys achieve that, just let us know. So I want to turn on the next couple of things, John. Before I get to that, I want to remind everybody, April 29th, 11 a.m., it is the webinar that you got to see. It's on material shortages, material price increases. John and I are going to talk about it. It will have fresh content in it. I'm going to talk about both Canadian and U.S. stuff. John's going to mention everything from the business side. I'm going to talk about the legal side. I'm going to have fresh contract provisions that nobody has seen. So definitely tune into that. Go to our social media to register. Last I checked this morning, we were over 200 people that have already registered. So definitely make sure that you check that out. Now, John, I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that contractors don't often think about. And just recently, over the last couple of weeks, we've had several phone calls from contractors that have gotten notifications from various photo owners that own the copyrights for photos that They took the copyrighted image off the internet and used it on their website. Okay, and it's pretty common. You right click, you save as, and you upload it to your, wherever. Okay, and what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of those photos have embedded security on it, and it's pretty easy to find out if you do that. And oftentimes, bad guy lawyers will start sending you notices, and usually they're looking for anywhere from $500 to $2,000 to get rid of it. So it is a big problem. It's something that's real easy to do, and a lot of people don't realize that you can get in trouble for it. So just a heads up there. Make sure that you are using royalty-free images. There's a lot of websites that have free stock images, things of that nature. That way, it'll protect you from taking those ones that are copywritten. John, any comments or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. So from a practical standpoint, if you want to get a photo, there's a lot of free ones out there that you can get. It will tell you it's free stock photo, okay to use. Then there's a lot of subscription services you can sign up for as little as $2.99 a month, $2.99 a month and on up. So yeah, take the extra precaution. One last thing I'll add to that is social media sharing. Always give credit to someone else's photo by resharing their post or giving them kudos saying, I got this photo from so-and-so. That's just good etiquette. It's not necessarily, maybe not be copyright infringement, but especially on LinkedIn and Facebook, it's good to do that. You'll gain more reputation management type of deal by giving kudos to people you're taking photos from.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, John. The reputation management is always key. One of the things that we also get caught on a lot, I mean, you think, we're focused on, construction defects and liens and, employment issues, that kind of stuff. Well, we get called for all kind of things. So one of the things we get caught on a lot is, hey, this person left a bad review for me on, Angie's List or Google or Better Business Bureau. How do I deal with it? And from a legal standpoint, there's a lot of different things that we can do. Obviously, if there's false information in there, that could potentially be defamation. We can send a cease and desist. Sometimes if a lawyer reaches out, then you can negotiate removal of bad reviews or at least some kind of redaction of it so that it's not as bad. From a common sense standpoint, you want to make sure that you're actively managing your reputation. Search yourself, search your company. Okay, it's very easy. Type in your company and then reviews, and it'll pop up all your Yelp reviews, Google reviews. If you see bad stuff on there, you want to respond. And, it's real easy to say, this person's an idiot. They don't know what they're talking about. That's not how you should do it. You should always respond from a standpoint of customer service that, thank you for your concern. If you contact us, we're happy to help you. We appreciate, that you brought this to our attention. We look forward to hearing from you, something along those lines. So there is an art to it. And we've done a webinar previously. If you go to our YouTube, you will see a webinar on reputation management that you can watch there. But John, in your experience on the contractor side, how did you deal with things? If you got, bad review or something popped up, what did you do about that when that happened?
Well, a lot of times you're bad. So there's a couple ways with the bad reviews. Sometimes you're going to get, I call them fake bad reviews, which could come from a competitor, that could come from, especially on the electronic world we're on. So that you want to immediately reply. Whenever you can reply to a bad review that's on electronic as the business person, it will help give you credibility to fight to pull it off. Plus, people will see that you cared enough to reply to it. It could be as simple as, hey, my records don't show that you were ever a customer. We're not aware of that. Please give us some information to reach out. We're more than willing to help, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of times you'll find out that if it is a real customer, the key goes back to your operational procedure, you're operational in your company itself. Usually a person that's a real customer will not be pissed off enough, pardon the New Jersey language, aggravated enough to go ahead and write a bad review on you unless they've been ignored by someone in your company or a process that doesn't have a proper procedure in place to handle a client complaint. So I would say go back and look at what's happening, whether your phones are answered, someone sending an email, where are they going? What happens if a client has a problem? Do you have a procedure in place to accelerate that up to the proper person to, handle it? That's usually what I find. Usually a real customer doesn't go right to the Google review or right there to complain. It's usually lost because you didn't follow up in your own business.
Right, right. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So, generally, any kind of dispute can properly be managed through managing your customers' expectations. So, that's sage advice, and that's something that we advocate here on the legal side as well. So, John, we talked about a lot of things. As you know, we always like to end with a question. So, we've got a very interesting question today. It is from Jacqueline, and Jacqueline has an immigration-related question. Okay, she says that she has received the proper paperwork from one of her crew members. It appears okay, but she is concerned that it may be fake. What should she do? Okay, now obviously, John and I could both talk about this for an hour, so I'm just going to keep it high level and simple. Okay, there are certain requirements that you've got to do. Obviously, you've got to take an I-9 in, right? And you got to have backup documentation that kind of talks about certain required documentation that evidences that. If that documentation is presented to you and you don't have any reason to believe that it is fake, then to a certain extent you have to accept what it is. Now, if for some reason you get notification that there's a Social Security mismatch letter, or let's say you e-verify and it gets kicked back, then you have the ability to go back to that person and say, hey, we got a problem. Can you correct this problem? Okay. And it's a lot more nuanced than what I'm telling you here. There's a lot of different things to do as far as that goes, but recognize that this is an issue. We understand construction, we understand how it works, but it's definitely something that you want to watch out for. John, what are your thoughts on that in general?
Yeah, I mean, I always, took sound advice from the legal side when I was on the opposite side of what you said. Your duty is you have to review it, you look at it, you really cannot question the person, if you're supposed to take it at the face value that it looks like a real document. And if it appears to be everything that it's supposed to be, and you hire that way and you're not e-verifying, or, you're just doing it the normal way with the I-9, then you file it, you hire, you move on. And then I have seen it where the Social Security, you will get a letter, and that's where it kicks into where you have a procedure to go through. So
Yeah.
I've always taken, that's more legal, but I can tell you, I've always taken our legal counsel. When I was on the other side, it was you, Trent, legal counsel on that, and that's how we handled it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the kind of thing is, once you get one of those mismatch letters or notification that it's wrong, that puts the duty on you then, right? So you're allowed to take stuff at face value to a certain extent. But once you find out that that's not the case, then you have a duty to act. Okay. Just remember that that's the key thing. So with that, John, we're going to end this episode of Law and Mortar. As always, if you guys have questions for us on anything, we will answer it. It takes us time, but we'll get to every single one of them. You can reach me at Trent Cotney, tcotney at cotneycl.com. John, how can they get you?
That's John Kenny. That's jkenny at cotneycl.com.
Great, great. Well, stay tuned next week for another episode of Law and Mortar.
See you next week.